Hey guys, hey, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is your girl Evadne. I'm joining you straight from New York City, warm New York City this evening. It's amazing to see that the weather is holding up so well since yesterday. I am extremely excited, not only because it's warm, but because we're at the social sip soiree and we have a really special guest with us tonight. And so just grab your cup of tea and join us for the lovely conversation around etiquette. Um, we have with us tonight our etiquette expert, Jacky Vernon-Thompson.
Hel-
Jacky, welcome.
Hello, Coach Evadne. Thank you so much for having me. It is an absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
What is the weather like down in Florida? Are,
It's
are,
warm today.
are the reptiles still falling from the trees?
No, our winter is like 2 days, when it's really cold. But no, today was probably 80 degrees, high
Okay.
70s. Yes. So it was
That's
warm today.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So, Lolo joined us. Lolo said, "Good evening. I just drank off my tea." Come on, Lolo, get back some more tea and join us. You know we want you over here. Welcome, Lolo. Okay, Jackie. So, uh, tell me, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. As mentioned, I am Jackie Vernon-Thompson. I'm a certified etiquette consultant and owner of From the Inside Out School of Etiquette here in South Florida. We educate children and adults about all things etiquette. We deal with the inner person, and of course, once you have that confidence and that self-esteem, you will indeed apply all of the protocols that we teach you. Some of the topics are honoring your body, of course, table etiquette protocol, and definitely tea etiquette, sitting and walking gracefully. Chivalry for our guys, greeting and communicating effectively, and the list goes on. We have a plethora of topics that we teach. We teach both virtually and in person. We also certify individuals who aspire to be etiquette consultants. So we have consultants all over the world who are teaching proper etiquette. It is no longer a lost art. It definitely is on the surface, and we are teaching that. Recently, I launched a book called Transformative Etiquette, A Guide to Love and Refining Self, and you'll be able to find that on Amazon globally.
Mhm. Oh, wonderful. So like you're doing a great thing. I noticed you said it is no longer a lost art.
No longer.
Was there a time when it was kind of perceived like it was on the endangered list?
Yes, there's been a time over the last couple generations, somehow, some way, it's been placed on the back burner where it's not even mentioned. And dare I say, it's not taught. Of course, in certain areas, certain homes, certain cultures, etiquette is a normal thing to be taught. But overall, society globally has pushed it to the back. And so we're bringing it forward and making sure others know that etiquette is required in every single thing we do. Unfortunately, many do not have the interest in knowing what is the protocol for this situation. So,
Mhm.
therefore, it became somewhat of a lost art, but lost no more.
Wow. I'm really happy that you're leading in this regard. You know, I am really impressed
Praise
uh,
God.
that you are doing this with such passion that you decided to open a school to teach etiquette.
Yes, and I can never take credit for the idea of establishing an etiquette school. Of course, I grew up without my father, and it really damaged me. I grew up very bitter and
Mm,
an angry person because I felt I wasn't loved because my dad left when I was 3 years old. And of course, I went through that whole process well into my adulthood. And might I add, I had the most loving mother. She filled in every gap. But there's always that place for daddy, right?
Yeah.
So, well into my adulthood, I was angry, bitter, felt abandoned. And I got to the point where I forgave him. And right now, my dad and I have a wonderful relationship. But through that process of forgiving him and getting to the point where I was now free to live my purpose because I was trapped in this bitter space, and I became free to live my purpose, I started teaching young ladies how to love themselves, particularly young ladies who were growing up without their father and was dealing with
Mhm.
that bitterness themselves. And
Mhm.
as I did that, a few years later, God just said, "Hey, it's time to take it to the next level and make this thing official." And it was His word, His word that said, "Let's do this thing." And that's how this school came about. It wasn't my idea. The Holy Spirit spoke to me, and I simply obeyed.
Oh wow, 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 wow. So did your dad help you out with the business, or you
No,
kind of just
no,
just
my husband and I teamed up and did that.
okay?
My dad doesn't have anything to do with the school. However, he has much to do with my healing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So there's a big
Okay.
difference.
Wonderful. Wonderful. It's great to see that out of that anger and pain, you were able to heal and bloom into something so lovely. Who would have
Yes.
thought you would have gone down this road, right?
Who would have thought you could make a real business out of teaching etiquette? Oh my goodness. I mean, God has blessed from the moment I launched until this moment. It's just an amazing experience I'm having.
Oh
Changing
wow.
lives and just living my purpose.
And in a society like this,
Yeah.
um, where it is not at the top of the
Totem
agenda.
pole, right?
Right, right, right. So that's a wonderful thing. You're a trailblazer here.
Ah,
Um, yeah, that's lovely. So tell
yeah.
me, at what point did you decide to also open another business? Which one came first?
When you said
With
open
with
another business.
with the charity.
Oh, most definitely. I always live by the philosophy that it is good to give back. And
Mhm.
I grew up in the city called Lauderhill here in
Mhm.
South Florida.
Mhm.
And it has always been my dream to give back in some way because Lauderhill really assisted my mom quite a bit with different uh, courses and different classes when we were growing up. And it was absolutely free. So when I launched this school and realized that I am now walking in my purpose and I am fulfilled, and now it's time to give back, I was
Mhm.
urged to establish a 501c3 called Youth Empowerment Village that allows
Mhm.
us every summer to conduct a 5-week course teaching young people how to be master communicators. So we
Mhm.
focus on public speaking, entrepreneurship, professionalism, and proper etiquette. And it's absolutely free to them.
Mhm.
It has been sponsored by Walmart. Walmart has been gracious each year, the city of Lauderhill, Ross, and local vendors. So it's a phenomenal program. And at the end of those 5 weeks, these children, ages 10 to 17, are completely transformed and their confidence is boosted. So I get great satisfaction from seeing the results of that.
Okay. So, but this is just a summer program. The
It's just a
other,
summer program. My etiquette
okay,
school is full time. I am so busy
okay,
doing that.
okay,
There's no way I could do Youth Empowerment Village year round.
okay. And at your etiquette school, you cater. Tell us the range of people you cater to on a day-to-day basis, and how does it work?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Children and adults. And of course, staff members of corporations and restaurant etiquette. And what happens is someone would just contact me and, advise that they do need this type of training, whether it's one-on-one, because we
Mhm.
have quite a bit of one-on-one. Everyone learns differently. Some people do not learn in a group setting, and so we accommodate that. Many people would reserve an entire series, whereas over weeks, probably months at a time, they're coming once a week, twice a week, and we make sure that we engage with them and ensure that all of our topics are interactive, interesting, fun, which is really important, and
Mhm.
it is practical. So
Mhm.
it's easy to apply to your everyday life if you're interested in becoming refined.
Right.
Everybody's not interested. That's the thing. Some folks are okay with how they are, and we respect that. So we do
Okay.
have our storefront where they would come to us, or we will go to your venue. For example, we are an approved vendor for Broward and Miami-Dade County. So, of course, we would go into the schools, go into the municipalities, and teach at their recreational centers and so forth. So, we're pretty busy.
Okay. So what are typically the things that people would come to you and say, I want my child to learn this or my teenager to learn that? What do they typically come to you for? Is it manners? Is it just how to use a knife and fork? Is it what? What?
The most common concern that parents have is that my child has low confidence,
Mhm.
low self-esteem. And we're talking about male and female, not just our girls. We have many guys who just don't feel worthy. Unfortunately, society doesn't cater to them in that aspect. So when
Mhm.
the parents bring them to me, I am able to assist them in helping them to know that they're good enough and they should look people in the eye because they're good enough, and
Right.
so forth. Of course, we have an entire process with that. But the number one thing is that my child has low confidence. Another thing, of course, is they just don't know how to eat. They don't
Mm.
know how to use their utensils. And
Mhm.
parents are candid with me. They're like, I am so embarrassed when we're dining out. And so, of course, we have to catch that and really deal with it. The number one requested workshop is table etiquette.
But tell me, is it that the kids don't know table etiquette or they don't see it in their homes?
Absolutely. They don't see it. And for some reason, like I mentioned earlier, I alluded to that earlier, for the last couple generations, etiquette is out the window. So, therefore, many of the parents don't know proper protocols. So, therefore, they're unable to teach their children, or they're just too busy working two, three jobs and they just don't have the time. We're not going to be too hard on them because there's so many different circumstances. But
Mhm.
this generation, most of the students to children are not taught. And
Yeah.
so the interesting thing is when they do attend my school and they learn the protocols, their confidence boosts. It's like they've been waiting and they're hungry for this kind of structure. And so when they learn it, they're so elated because now they can show their best.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. We have Deuce and Louis joining us. She said good night. Hi, good night, Deuce. And how are you? How is it where you are? And Lolo says, my aunt would absolutely love that. She loves good etiquette. Very nice, Lolo. Uh, I think that we the parents can't skip out on their responsibility. They didn't learn it, and they they didn't try. Maybe their parents didn't teach them because they didn't think it was important, or
Right.
they didn't try to learn it from their parents, whichever
Right.
one. But somehow they end up with not knowing, and they don't make the effort to learn, especially when you become a parent, because this
Mhm.
is something. Um, very important to pass on to a child and to
Mhm.
practice within the household so the child would naturally gravitate towards it.
Yes, I totally agree. However, in if in their household, while growing up as a child, if it was not a an important aspect of life,
Hmm.
it's not going to be important for them to teach their child. It'll be a cycle until someone says, I'm going to break that cycle. And I seldom remind some of us who are like blown away that etiquette is not a common thing in this society. I remind them, especially in the United States, 2 generations ago, there was an influx of kids having kids.
Yeah, and
Yes,
that's when this whole thing went downhill.
exactly. So those children who had children didn't know to teach their children. And so the cycle continues until
Yeah,
someone or a generation breaks it.
yeah, yeah. But wow, I didn't grow up in a sophisticated household, but we were required to eat at the table, and we used to use knife and fork too,
Mhm.
right? So I gravitated towards that pretty early, and you know, as a young lady, I used to
Mhm.
sit at the table and eat. I used to have my table well made up, and the whole tea thing was a part of me since then. So
Uh-huh.
I always liked the refinement of all of that that comes with that. It was very natural to me.
Oh,
No,
wow.
no, I don't use a knife when I'm a knife and fork like on a regular basis. But I grew up doing it. When I was in my 20s, I used to do it. When I was in my 30s, I think I used to do it too. Maybe part of the 40s too. But I don't practice it anymore like that. But it was very much a part of me, and it's
Yeah.
because we used to do it from we were kids.
Mm. Unfortunately, every adult can't make that phenomenal statement you just made.
Yeah,
And at countless times, I've dined in restaurants and I literally see adults holding their knife like this.
because
And
they don't know.
yeah, or holding their knife in their left hand. And it's so important to understand whether you're right handed or left handed, your knife is always in your right hand. And so we see that quite often. And not only do our children need to learn etiquette, many adults need to learn it as well, if again, they want to be refined.
Yeah, and then it turns out now like people just think it's nonsense. So we're gonna set the table anyhow. We're gonna put the knife in any hand. It's whatever makes you comfortable. We're gonna just roll with that.
Roll with the punches until they learn until they learn the proper way. That's the thing. I don't know of anyone who just doesn't want to learn. Of course, there's a few people who just don't tell me anything, but the majority of society wants to learn the correct way of doing
Right,
things. They
right,
want
right.
that access. And so once I teach them how to set a table, it's just their face lights up and that energy, that even the posture is just like, wow, I know how to do this now. I can dine with anyone at any level because I'm confident. I know which glass is mine, which bread plate is mine. I know all of this stuff. So let's do it. I feel that and I see that every time we educate someone on this topic.
Wow, amazing, amazing. You know, I'm from a rural, small, teeny little community, but they did have etiquette class at um at one of the churches that I
Mm.
attended when I was a kid, and later on I went to etiquette class in Mandeville where I
Oh,
lived growing
wow.
up. I went to a real course like you're doing now. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like a group of us. We
Oh,
were in
wow.
an organization and we arranged to have the course as a part of what we do at the organization. So I think four or five of us went at the same
That's
time. So
wonderful.
every Sunday we used to go, and that was something else. But the lady was she lived in England, so she kind of brought that
Oh,
refinement with her. Yeah, but uh what can I say? Let's try to spread the word so that more people, because I think a part of the problem is access. People just
Yes.
don't know where to turn to get this training.
Yes. And I have to say this. Yes, it is access. However, primarily in America and in Europe, back in the day, etiquette was perceived to be only for the elite.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the everyday blue collar person just did not believe that it was for them because
Mhm.
society taught them that's not for you. You continue working, you, as they say, you rear your children and you just live. But those of us over here whose bank accounts are up here, that stuff is for us. And
Mhm.
so the mindset was like, that's not for me. So the important thing is when I established my school, I intentionally made sure that it was accessible to the everyday single mother who's rearing her children and just want the best for her, for them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Single father as well, because we have dads who are rearing their children too. So I wanted to make sure that my prices were not astronomical, where
Mhm.
it is not attainable and
Mhm.
or affordable. And I
Mhm.
made sure you people knew that if you would like your child to have the best, and if you want to be the best in your workplace or wherever, you have access.
Okay.
So that is very important. Again, it was only for the elite, but now it's a different story.
You're right, right. So in society now, I know, like, when presidents come in office, or these elite people doing whatever they do, they have what they call protocol that
Hmm.
you have to follow. Like when you go to meet the queen, how you should behave, stuff like that.
Right,
Those
right.
are those are actually taught to them at that level. Somebody has to
Mhm.
take them through those things. But I
Right.
think it kind of stops there. So if you're not all the way up there, you don't get that kind of
Yeah,
training,
right. More than likely, if you're the everyday person, you're not going to meet the queen
right?
unless it's some consolation prize or something. So,
Mhm.
of course, but you better believe it. If someone is slated to meet the queen, they will have somebody in place to teach you the protocols. You
Right.
better believe it because they don't want to offend the queen by their behavior. And the essentially etiquette is conducting yourself in a way that doesn't offend others.
Right.
Therefore, everything you do, you must be aware of your behavior to ensure you're not offending someone by the words you use when you're dining, reaching over their food, chewing with
Right.
your mouth open, so many different
Talking,
things.
talking,
Mhm.
talk,
Talking,
talk,
chewing with your mouth open, yes,
talk
and
about that.
talking while you're chewing.
This is a regular thing I see in society today, and I have to be careful how I choose my words. Um, this is this a thing, or
When they're
why do you
speaking,
talk what like you're dining? You see so many people doing it now. It's almost like it's a style, or it's a fashion.
it's
Like this,
because it's
and
simply
they're talking, or they cover their mouth. You shouldn't be talking with food in your mouth. Period.
right, right, exactly what I teach my students. If someone asks you a question while you're chewing,
Mhm.
simply hold up your pinky finger with a smile, continue to chew. That means hold on just a moment,
Mhm.
continue to chew. When you're finished, when you've consumed that portion, simply continue with the conversation. But some people, they're just not aware of that protocol, and they are aware of the fact that you should not show the food that's in your mouth, so they cover it.
Right.
They
So
just
so
don't
so
understand, hold on a moment.
yeah. So now I notice it's like such a, maybe people think it's a thing. It's a stylish thing to do, to be. You're not supposed to be talking with food in your mouth at all.
Yeah, hold on just a moment. So you were saying? And
Yeah.
that's how it's supposed to be.
Like this. Why do you need to
Yes.
speak when you're chewing?
Yeah,
No.
that's a concern. Another concern that I witness quite often when I'm in different eateries is people blow their nose at the table,
Oh, well,
and that is an absolute no-no. That
blow their
is
nose, keep their
that is
teeth.
just too graphic, and I witnessed that countless times. And it's very important for us to understand blowing your nose at the table, regardless of how discreet you may think you did it, is unacceptable.
Right, right.
Excuse yourself and go to the restroom to do that. Wash your hands and return. Now, coughing and sneezing are okay at the table because those are bodily functions you cannot control. Of
Yeah,
course, the delivery, you cough and sneeze in your elbow away
yeah.
from the other guests. But blowing your nose, you definitely can control the timing of that. So excuse yourself and go and take care of that. That is too
Yeah.
graphic to be done at the table. It definitely will cause someone to lose their appetite.
Okay. What about picking food from your teeth, using the toothpick at the
Oh,
table?
absolutely not. That is a no-brainer. Absolutely not. Excuse yourself because you can easily flick something into somebody else's plate. It is just improper to, it's even improper to apply lipstick at the table. And I see ladies doing that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse yourself again. That's why the restroom has mirrors. Go ahead, head to the restroom and take care of yourself. But there's so many small things that make significant differences when you're dining, when you're interacting. And I don't want it to seem like etiquette is just about table, just about dining, what you do at the table. It's such a broad subject. Again, everything we do
Yeah,
requires proper etiquette.
there's a lot. I saw some clip of you talking about where ladies should put their handbags.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that? Because that's that's something that I think we don't pay enough attention to. Except most ladies will tell you they don't want their bag to go on the ground because it it makes you poor. Like it's a
Oh, well,
superstitious
that's
thing.
superstition.
Yeah.
That's superstition. Of course, you should never place your purse on the floor because of the germs that is on the floor. It definitely will go on the bottom of your purse, and that's another reason you should never place your purse on a table, especially a table where we eat or a counter, because you never know what's on the bottom of the purse. So you're
Hmm.
transferring germs.
Right.
Therefore, when you're carrying a purse, a handbag, or clutch, it should always be carried on your left side to leave your right side free to shake hands when it's safe, because we're in a pandemic, to shake
Hmm.
hands, to give the alternative, because that's the proper etiquette, that's the proper protocol. Now, when you have your purse or your handbag on the right, you're getting ready to greet someone, you're subjected to having
Right.
to switch it to the left
Yeah.
before
Hmm.
you greet that person. So,
Hmm.
proper protocol is to have it on the left. And someone would ask, well, I've had quite a bit of people ask, well, suppose I'm left handed. That doesn't matter because the universal protocol is to always shake with your right hand. So,
Right.
of course, our special left handed individuals do have to adjust in every case when dining, handbags, protocols, and so forth.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Mm,
You take that for granted, but really, it makes good sense.
yes,
What
yes.
about where you keep your handbag while you're dining?
Oh, yes, great question. You can either place it on your lap if it is small enough. Sometimes we have a clutch, it can place right on our lap or right behind us. But you never, ever, ever place your clutch, your handbag on the table.
Right.
Never. No matter how small the clutch is or how cute, and there may be empty space on the table, you never place it on the table. Just like in this day and time during the pandemic, you never place your mask on the table because the germs that's coming out of your system is lodged in the mask. You place it on the table where you and others are dining. That's not proper etiquette. Place it in your purse, on your lap, or somewhere where it is not impacting or affecting the other guests, not on the
Oh,
table.
Wow. A lot of people are going to be shocked to know that.
Yeah,
Because
it's
you ever go to a function or something and see all the ladies just line out their purses on the table.
yeah, that I'm just like, no, but of course I can correct them. That would be
Yeah.
improper etiquette.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so show us now the knife and fork thing. I think a lot of people might be waiting to see that. The proper way to hold the knife and the fork, the hands, which hand what should be in.
Definitely. Of
And
course.
then you can go on to the teas. I'll just allow you to just go from one to the next.
Okay, no problem. Of course, my camera may be switched because, when you're on the virtual camera.
Oh, yeah.
But, ladies and gentlemen, this is my right hand. Your knife should be, the handle of your knife should be in the palm of your hand. You should never have the handle of your knife and fork sticking out the back of your hand. It should be in the palm of your hand. Your index finger stops at the neck of the knife. It doesn't go down on the blade because, of course, your finger will end up in your food when you're cutting. So it stops at the neck of your knife, handle in your palm, close these fingers to have that good grip. Same scenario with your fork, the handle in your palm, your index finger extended to the neck of the fork, not onto the tines. Keep in mind, these are not fork teeth. These are tines, Tines. So your finger would not be on the tines, it would be on the neck of the knife, just at the base. This is how the neck of the fork, the neck of the knife. This is how you hold a knife and fork, okay? Knife in the right, fork in the left. Now I'm hoping you're able to see it. And of
Yeah.
course, you would hold stationed. We have the name in there, okay?
Okay.
Hold station, let's say it's chicken breast. Hold down the chicken breast with the fork and hold the knife in front of the tines, not behind the tines, not between the tines. It will go in front of the tines and you slice gracefully, gracefully. And from there, there's a difference between the American and European style dining, which is a whole course. Okay. So after you've cut, there is a difference. And I think you are used to the European style, which is the continental style taught in Europe, in Britain, and in most islands where you do not release the knife and fork when you're dining. Once you're finished cutting in the European style, you rest your wrist at the edge of the table on the right and pivot the food in your mouth. You would not release the knife and fork. So that's just a synopsis of the European style. But cutting is extremely important. And we show ourselves all the time when folks are cutting and they just don't know how to cut. They're holding the fork like this. Let me put it over here. They're holding the fork like this and cutting, and I'm like, poor thing. I wish I can give you my card, but you're dining, so it's improper etiquette to do that. But that's how we
But
cut with our knife and fork. Any questions?
in a case like that, though, if the person doesn't know what to do, what is your usual advice? You're dining out in a
Mm-hmm.
setting where other people are there dining and you're not sure how to handle yourself. What should you do?
I can explain to you what usually happens with me. Now, keep in mind, it is improper etiquette to correct someone if you do not have any level of relationship with them. That's rude. So, if they're doing it incorrectly, so be it. You don't correct them. Oh, this is what you do. That's too much. But what happens with me quite often, most folks know what I do for a living. So if they're sitting next to me, they usually ask, Jacky, am I holding it correctly? I'm so and people are always nervous when they're dining with me. I'm so nervous. I don't think I want to eat. And I'm like, it's okay. Just be yourself. I'm not judging. No, be yourself. That happens quite often with me. But very often they ask, how should I do this? Is this the correct way? Jacky, is this how I place my knife and fork when I'm finished? Or when I'm pausing? Is this how I do it when I'm finished? And so I'm able to gracefully and gently correct them or advise them on how to do it. But if I'm sitting at a table with a number of people and someone over there is not doing something correctly, it is not my place to take the initiative to correct them. That's rude.
Right. But if no one is there to to guide you or anything, and you end up in a place with among strangers, maybe it's coworkers and
Mhm.
whoever, and you're not sure what to do, is it not okay to just watch what somebody else is doing who looks like they know what to do?
I've been witness. Listen, many times I've dined with others, and they're literally sitting there watching me and
Yeah,
doing everything I do.
of course.
It
You-
happens all the time, and I'm flattered that they value what I do. And so I just teach them. And when I acknowledge that they're watching me, I help them along the way. But I don't intrude
right,
unless I have some sort of relationship with you.
right. Wonderful. Cheryl Smith joined us. Good night, Cheryl. She says good night. Uh,
Good
Guys,
night.
if you have questions, you could put it in the chat so we can read them out or ask Jacky. Etiquette is a big part of my upbringing, but I leave some of it and get comfy. I know how to use it when I need to. That's the most important thing, Lolo, that you know how to.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
when the time, you know, when you're at a place where you need to, where you really need to, you know what to do. I hope you're teaching
Yes.
that to some of the young people also. All right, Jacky. So show us about um, tea
How to pour
etiquette.
your tea. Okay.
Yeah.
I love tea etiquette. By the way, we're having a global class, a tea party etiquette workshop. It will be March 6th at 1:30 p.m. It's a global class via Zoom. We have almost 360 people registered already globally.
Wow.
And so we're going to jump on Zoom and learn all things etiquette. It is also the kickoff for Women's History Month, which is March. So we're going to acknowledge some of the wonderful women who've made an impact in society in the past and current, and teach all things etiquette. So one of the very important aspect of tea etiquette is learning how to pour the tea or even pour the water, the hot water. Now, we have our teapot here. It's very important to know this is a teapot. This is not a kettle. We don't want to call it a kettle. It is a teapot. And of course, the taller pots are coffee pots. The teapots are normally stout and shorter. And so this is a teapot. When pouring,
So,
go
so
ahead.
which one is the kettle?
The kettle is the one that you have on the stove, and it's just not the refined term that you use. You would say a teapot.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So I did put the link in the group for anyone who wants to register to attend that free tea tea workshop.
Oh,
Did you
that would
say?
be great. Yes. So
Right.
please register.
I did. Okay.
Absolutely free. Okay, so let's say we're getting ready to pour tea, and unfortunately, the name is right in front. So we're going to put that over on the side. Let's say we're getting ready to pour tea. It is very important never to just pour like that, ladies.
Mhm.
Why? Yes, the water would come out the spout here. However, the top may come off as well, and you would make a big scene, a mess. So, when pouring, always hold the handle and gracefully pour into the cup. Okay? Always hold the handle. That is a given. Now, when you're at a tea party, usually the host will assign a host for each table. And the way the person would know they are the host is by the spout pointing their way. So the host of the event we'll say, okay, the person sitting at that table will be the host for this table, and the spout would be facing them. That means you will be the one to pour the tea for the individuals who are sitting at your table. Everyone would not grab the teapot and pour their tea. You would pour their tea if you're the designated host. That's really important. Another thing that's very important, and there's so many important protocols, is when you're trying to, blend everything and stir everything together, it is very, very crucial that you do not go around in a circle. The way you stir is go from 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And if you really think about it, that disrupts the tea. Okay? It disrupts it and causes it to dissolve. If you go around and around in circle, it takes longer to dissolve. And the proper way is 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock. When it is time to drink, of course, you make sure that you never place your fingers or your finger in the loop. That is not the proper way to hold a teacup. Your fingers would be on the outside of the loop. Outside of the loop. Your thumb on the outside, your index finger and others on the outside. And this finger right here is right at the bottom of the loop. And you're gracefully drinking your tea. When drinking your tea, make sure, or drinking from anything, a glass, a stem glass, anything, make sure you look into the glass. Why do I look into the cup or the glass? I am paying attention to the flow of the beverage to prevent spillage or making a scene. Okay, so we gracefully look into the glass and drink with our fingers outside of the loop. Now, of course, if you're drinking from a mug, like you're drinking hot chocolate, and it's a big mug, it's okay to place your finger in the loop because it's a big cup, it's a large cup. There's a greater amount of liquid or beverage in it, and you definitely need to hold that firmly. But for a teacup, right, for a teacup, it's on the outside.
What about the saucer? The saucer. What's its main purpose?
The saucer, of course, is to hold the teacup. Now, there's something about the saucer. We never lift the saucer if we're sitting at a standard height table, standard level table. You leave the saucer on the table. You never pick up the saucer when you're at a standard level table. The only time it is appropriate to pick up the saucer is if you're standing where there's no table, or if the table is very low, like a coffee table. At that point, you may pick up the teacup and saucer and enjoy your tea. But while sitting around a standard size table, never pick up your saucer.
That's because when you're at a table, it's like a dining table.
Right.
So you have enough leverage, enough room,
absolutely,
for that. Just like your plate would be on the table. But if you don't have that, then the saucer is a protection for you.
Yes, for the dripping, anything,
standing or so on.
Yes,
wonderful.
Yes.
When you mentioned the spoon in the water, I don't know if this is something that you practice, but it is said that if you put the spoon in the cup, then pour the hot water on, it helps somehow with cooling the water. Because the spoon itself takes up a lot of that heat from the liquid.
I've not heard that protocol. However, for the average person who's drinking tea or coffee and they're going to add cream or other items to it, that definitely will help cool it. So typically you would leave the spoon where it is in place. Do what you need to do. Add when you pour the water, you have your tea bag, or if it's
Mhm.
loose tea,
Mhm.
you would
Mhm.
place it in there. Then you add your cream, then you add your sugar, and at that point you pick up your spoon to 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And of
Okay.
course, when you're drinking, you never drink with the tea bag in your teapot. You always remove it, put it on the side of your saucer. Your spoon will go on the back of your saucer. And at that point, you enjoy your tea, but you never drink it with the spoon.
Do you know
No,
why? Do you know why you shouldn't leave it in there?
it's just not proper unless you have a more intense explanation.
I think a good explanation would be because tea should not steep for too long.
Okay,
It becomes bitter.
okay.
It's
Uh,
like less than 5 minutes.
oh,
If
yes,
you
of course, of
if you
course.
leave it inside there, it could make your tea become bitter. However, um, herbs could stay
Mhm.
longer. So I don't know that there's a real protocol for that, but I think that's why.
I
Apart
think
from the looks of it,
right, right.
yeah.
It's the look of it that's we're
Mhm.
most concerned about in etiquette. But of course, that is a very valid point that it gets much more strong, much stronger. But for us with the etiquette, it's just a look of the label, just
Right.
lingering.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
as refined as it should be.
Yeah. So awesome. Is there anything else? Any other point you want to talk about with teeth?
Regarding tea, it's so
Yeah.
important for folks to remember that when enjoying the different foods from the three-tier platter, it's appropriate to start from the bottom up. At the top, we would have our desserts. Mid tier, we would have our scones, and the bottom would be our mini sandwiches. So you would start from the bottom up. It is also extremely important to seem poised that you should only have 3 items on your plate at any given time. At any given time, no more than 3 items. Enjoy those 3 items, and you, by all means, get seconds again. But do not pile anything on your plate. 3 items allows you to look elegant, graceful, and the perfect lady.
All right.
And by the way, these days our guys are coming to our tea parties, so the
Yeah.
perfect gentleman.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So, is there any question for for Jackie? If you could put it in the chat, and remember, the information is right there for you to register for her upcoming tea
Tea
seminar
party etiquette workshop.
party. Yeah, yeah. It's a hands-on kind of training, right?
it it's a mix of hands-on and visual, and
Mhm.
anyone can join. And it is, if you would like to be the ideal guest at a tea party, or if you'd like to be the ideal host. So there are do's and don'ts for our guests and do's and don'ts for our host during this workshop.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so one question on my mind. How do we make the proper introduction? You're introducing two people who didn't know each other, or even
Oh,
introducing yourself
oh,
to
oh,
people.
that's a good one. And so many people are not aware of this protocol. One thing that's extremely important is when you're introducing yourself, you never say, "My name is." My name is, for one, sounds a bit elementary. Two, it is redundant. You're saying my name and then you say your name. So we don't say, "My name is Jacky Vernon-Thompson." We would say, "I'm Jacky Vernon-Thompson." That's the
Okay.
proper way to introduce yourself. Never "my name is." In addition to that, when you're introducing someone, it's very important for you, and people, folks do this all the time. They will engage into a conversation with someone, having another person on their side, knowing that person doesn't know the person you're communicating with, and they don't introduce them. That's improper etiquette to the highest power. So we should always introduce the individual. For example, I'm communicating with Evadne, and I have my husband on the side. His name is Jerome. So I would first greet you because I know you. Hello, Evadne, or Coach Evadne, how are you? We stop right there. After we have that small talk, we stop right there. We do not engage into a conversation. I will then look to my left. Honey, this is Coach Evadne. Coach Evadne, this is my husband, Jerome. Always include the relationship and the name. This is
Okay.
Coach Evadne. I'm saying that you're my coach. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This Coach Evadne, this is my husband. That's the relationship, Jerome. I'm saying his name so you would know how to address him.
Right.
That's important. Now, it goes another step. If I'm introducing someone who is at a higher level, let's say on the job, I'm introducing the CEO to the new employee. You would mention the CEO's name first in the introduction to show respect. So, CEO McLilley, you are the CEO of your company, and I'm introducing you to a new employee. I would say, Ms. McLilley, I would say Ms., because that's the universal way to address a lady, especially in the corporate environment. Ms. McLilley, this is our new hire, Sophia. Sophia, this is Ms. McNeely, our CEO. So your name at the highest level or higher level than the person you're meeting should always be mentioned first. And the same with if you're significantly older than the individual who
Mm-hmm.
you're meeting, your name is mentioned first because it's a respect thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, many people are not aware of those protocols. It may seem like, oh my gosh, that's so much to remember. But the more we practice, the more natural it becomes.
Yeah. 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 That's true. I know about that one. But
Mhm.
do we always remember it? That's the point. Like
That's the point.
you know in the back of your head that you're supposed to do it, but do you always do it right?
The
or you
funny
just
thing is,
or you just kind of
sometimes
go with the flow?
sometimes we go with the flow because more than likely the other person isn't aware of that protocol. So it's like, whatever. Some people do that. But
Yeah.
I try to be cognizant of that
And
because I'm always teaching.
that takes some thought before you even open your mouth to make the introduction.
Hmm.
You've this is the direction that this needs to go. Him
Yes.
first, then her, or
Yes.
the older than the younger. Quickly.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess practice.
Yes.
Yeah. I could see that. All right. Is there anything that you want to talk about? To tell us any encouragement before we
Absolutely.
wrap this up?
Absolutely. It's very, and I say important quite often because there's so many important aspects of etiquette. But I encourage everyone to head over to Amazon.com and purchase my book, Transformative Etiquette, a guide to love and refining self. This book is definitely transformative. If you are interested in changing the way you network, the way you dine, the way you communicate, changing the way you do different things during the day, if you want to boost your confidence, boost your self-esteem, if you want to learn what is required in order for you to walk into your purpose, this book is definitely for you. So I encourage everyone at any age group to purchase this book because it is life changing. Again, at Amazon.com. If you do not have Amazon where you are, definitely head to our website at www.fromtheinsideout.com, and you can purchase the book there as well. If you purchase it from our website, you would automatically receive an autographed copy, And if you purchase it from Amazon, it'll be sent right out to you, Prime or whatever account you have. But that book is definitely something that needs to be in everyone's home. Again, our website, even to book workshops, our website is From the Inside Out, S as in school, OE as in etiquette.com.
Okay, wonderful. So, thank you for joining, Sheila. Hope you enjoyed it so far. Um, so people could contact you if they want you to do workshop for their office, for
Yes.
churches, for schools,
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And
or
our phone number
individual.
or individual one on
Oh,
one,
sorry.
our phone
Okay.
number is 954-870-6414. That's 954-870-6414. If you would like our package of all the topics and descriptions, and of course our credentials, please email us at info, INF as in Frank, O, at from the inside out, SOE.com. And so you'll be able to communicate with us and we'll fulfill your needs in the world of etiquette.
Right. And it doesn't matter where you are because we're doing
Doesn't
this
matter.
virtually.
We do it virtually and in person, yes.
Okay. Okay. So you do have virtual classes now,
Oh, yes,
um, down there in Broward, right?
absolutely.
Okay.
We have students all over the world.
That's wonderful. So we do look forward to the Tea Party workshop that's coming up. And
Thank
we
you.
hope that we will get some people from here to register as well. And we hope that you'll continue to be a trailblazer
Oh,
in this respect. Uh, do you find that you're growing more and more? Like a lot more people are coming to you trying to become coaches themselves?
absolutely. Absolutely. And incidentally, our next class begins February 28th, teaching individuals how to teach etiquette and all things etiquette. And we certify them at the end of the 5 weeks. 5 weeks, Mondays and Thursday evenings at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom. So many folks are coming forward. There's so many people who've always wanted to impact the youth or impact any person who would like to change their life or the way they do things. So once they find me on social media, I have a very large following by the grace of God. Once they find me on social media, it's like they just hold on to me. And it's such a beautiful thing because the
Yeah,
more people involved in helping to change the trajectory of the lives of our youth, the better society will be.
absolutely, absolutely. And this is not just for a certain type of people in the society or a certain age. It is for young and old and in between rich and poor.
Yes,
Everyone wants to
absolutely.
go out there and look like a star because they know how
Yes.
to handle themselves. It,
Yes.
it can be so cute, especially to see the guys, the young men, being really, really polished.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't let you leave before I ask. Tell us about this open the door for the ladies stuff. Is that still a thing? That just came to
Chivalry.
my mind.
Chivalry is definitely still alive. It's rare, but it is definitely still alive. And our gentlemen have to understand, and this is what I share with our gentlemen and our ladies. One, just because you're a female doesn't automatically make you a lady. You have to decide to be a lady and start demonstrating ladylike behavior. It's the same scenario for our guys. Just because you're a male doesn't automatically make you a gentleman. Break down the word gentle man. And so a gentleman is concerned about everything with the lady or ladies in his presence. So when you're entering a building, of course, he opens the door. And when he opens the door, be sure to stand on the outside as you hold the door open. Don't go inside and hold the door open because you would have left her outside subjected to the elements. Your job as a gentleman is to protect her. So do whatever is necessary. You stand on the outside where she is to make sure if anything happens, you're there to protect her. So allow her to go in and then you enter behind her. Same scenario when coming down the stairs. The gentleman comes down first. Just in case she falls, he breaks her fall. She falls on him and he breaks her fall. I've had our students as, well, suppose I fall too. Well, you cushioned
Come
her fall.
on. You're a man. You're supposed to be strong.
Yes. So a gentleman is conscious of potential danger. So when he sees that there's potential danger, his job is to figure out how I can protect her. Just like when you're walking down the street with a young lady, there's potential danger with the traffic. So the gentleman will walk on the side of the traffic and she walks on the inside as if to protect her. So we just have to, it's a mindset. And he just knows that, listen, your job is to protect her, point blank. And if you're a gentleman, you will seek ways to protect her.
Unfortunately, some ladies don't want to be protected these days, and that's a whole other story.
Yeah, some of us are so independent. We want to be treated like a special lady, but because of our independence, we don't allow the gentleman to be a gentleman. So what I emphasize with my female students, allow him to seat you. Allow him to open the door. Allow him to be the gentleman he was either taught to be or the gentleman he wants to be. Yeah. That word allow is key.
Give him the opportunity to do it.
Yes.
Require it.
Require it in a graceful way, though. Don't say, "Oh, you need to open my door." No. the way a lady,
if he doesn't think you need it or you appreciate it, he won't do it.
Exactly. And that's not a good thing. So as a lady, when you approach a building or when you approach your car door, you stand on the side. You walk to the door, step away, and stand there. He may not be used to it. He may say, "Well, what's wrong?" You would say, "What's wrong? Something's wrong with your hand?" You would say, "Oh, it would make me feel so special if you'd open the door for me." Boom. He's got it. He's like, "Okay, I've got you." Rather, you stand there, "Aren't you going to open my door for me?" It's like, "No, you open your own door." See, you will not get what you would like with that kind of attitude. So it's how you teach the gentleman, because sometimes we do have to teach them. Sometimes we do. To do it gracefully.
Thank you so much, so much, so much. And in case you guys are wondering what I'm drinking here, I'm drinking the famous Rejoice tea, and it's made of hibiscus, mango, apple, and rosehip.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
It sounds like the crowd favorite. I'll send you some so that you could sample it yourself and talk about it.
Yay!
And we will connect about that, where I could send it. Yeah, but it's such a great pleasure to connect with you and have you connect with my tribe here.
My pleasure.
It's the first, but it will certainly not be the last. And the person who introduced us, she has a vision of us. I don't know, she missed this interview, but she could watch the replay. She has a vision of you doing stuff in New York. She just absolutely think that you could do amazing work over here. So
awesome. I'd love that.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. So, any closing words?
I do thank you, Coach Ivani, for allowing me to be displayed in this fashion and to talk all things etiquette. I do appreciate it. I encourage you to continue doing what you're doing because you're doing a phenomenal job. You're so beautiful and you look confident with that low hairstyle, and you are confident. I'm telling you, it takes confidence for that, and it's so beautiful on you. I just encourage our audience to always be conscious of your conduct in the presence of others. Always ask the question, what is the proper protocol for this? If you are not sure, Google it. Or even go on my YouTube channel. from the Inside Out School of Etiquette. Go do whatever you need to do to ensure that you're conducting yourself properly. Be more interested in what should I do when I enter this environment? Be more interested. Don't just go into it unsure and make a scene, because we don't want scenes. That's not graceful. So be more interested in being the lady, the refined lady that you were meant to be, and learn as much as you can and practice it at home so that when you go out in public, it becomes natural for you.
Right, right, right. And we have to encourage more young people
Yes.
or people who are into teaching young minds to engage in these classes so we can have more
Absolutely.
people doing this so it's not a dying art.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's thank you so much. It's
My
such a
pleasure.
pleasure, such a wonderful experience to have you on here. Can't
My
wait to
pleasure.
see you in action at an actual tea party setting.
Absolutely. I can't wait either. So we have to stay in touch, stay
Sure,
connected.
sure, sure, sure. So on behalf of everyone who sees this presentation or will see it in the future, let me thank you for your gracefulness and
My
for the
pleasure.
beautiful demonstration and all the tips that you gave us tonight.
My pleasure.
Thank you
Thank you for
so much.
having me.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch up. I think I need to come back on here Valentine's Day to do something. So we will catch up. Take good care of yourselves now and good night.
Good night.
Good night.